What's going on, guys? What's going on, Trash Squad? What's going on, everybody? So, Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye against the Sun in a game that, in a game that her second game back, and I'm glad that one of her teammates stepped in for her. I'm glad that one of her teammates stepped up for her and did and stepped up for her. Because a lot of, I would say a lot of players really, probably some players in the W has made it hard for Caitlin Clark. And let me say this, most importantly, when one of her teammates stepped up for her, I like to see that. Because Caitlin has somebody now that will have her back. Like, I would say her entire team has her back. The entire Fever team has her back. But when we see like stuff like this happen where players get poked, players get hit in the face, players get poked in the eye, and then another player steps up for that player on their team, they deserve a lot of credit. They deserve a lot of credit. They deserve a lot of credit for stepping up for Caitlin. Because if you ask me about how hard Caitlin Clark and how tough it has been for her so far being in the W, I would say this. Players like Angel Reese, players like Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, they are making it tough on Caitlin. Those are great players. And Caitlin is a good player too. But when we see this, like, when we see somebody like don't have Caitlin Clark's back when she got into it with one of the Suns players, when we see Caitlin Clark, nobody has her back in any of these other games. But we have to give her teammate credit. We have to give Cunningham credit. We have to give Sophia Cunningham credit for stepping up for Caitlin. Because now you're saying that Caitlin finally has somebody who will probably have her back when games like this are when games are tough. You have somebody that will have her back. And we have to give Sophia Cunningham credit where credit is due. Because if any player in the W, all the players are making it tough for Caitlin. And if we said that we wouldn't see a this players go at it in the W. Like, this seemed like NBA players talking trash, going at it. And now we're seeing it in the W. Even though Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye, Caitlin Clark isn't going back down. I think this really brings the entire Fever team together. This brings the Indiana Fever together. Because any other player wouldn't have Caitlin Clark's back like Sophia Cunningham did. Any player wouldn't have Caitlin Clark's back in the W. Let me just say that. Because when Caitlin Clark came into the league, she won Rookie of the Year. She was in the MVP voting last year. She just had a 32-point game against the Liberty. But this, to me, probably brings this Fever team and say, hey, we're not going to let you guys, any team, come at our point guard like this. No other team is going to let Caitlin Clark go at Adam. Because now this says that Caitlin Clark finally has somebody that will have her back, that will be there when times are tough, because we see that with a Steph Curry that has a Draymond Green. We've seen that in the NBA. We see that in the NBA where Steph Curry has a Draymond Green. We see that we've seen that with Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace in the NBA. How they had their teammates' backs. We're seeing that now with Sophie Cunningham standing up for Caitlin Clark, because that's her point guard. If you could tell me, if it was Elena Boston, yes, she would step up for Caitlin Clark. If it was Sophie Cunningham, like she did, yes, she would stand up for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is a good teammate. Other teams, other players are going to make it tough for Caitlin. And what we've seen from how this Indiana Fever team came together, I think Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Elaine Boston are free franchise players for the Fever. And now that we've seen Sophie Cunningham have Caitlin Clark's back in that trash talk, we see trash talk in the NBA. We see trash talk in the NFL. Give these WNBA players a lot of credit where credit is due, and a lot of respect. Because now, to me, Caitlin Clark deserves a lot of respect, because now she has somebody that can back her up, that has her back. Like, nobody, like I said before, nobody wouldn't have Caitlin Clark's back. Except this Fever team. No other player in the WNBA, not an Angel Reese, not a Angel Wilson, Brianna Stewart, wouldn't have Caitlin Clark's back. Nobody wouldn't go to bat for Caitlin Clark. Except one of her teammates. Which that is amazing to me and good to see, because when somebody has your back, that shows respect. That shows that Caitlin Clark has a teammate in Elaine Boston that has her back. That shows that she has a teammate in Sophie Cunningham that has her back. This Fever team came together. Caitlin Clark isn't going to back down from any other team, because now that we've seen in this Indiana Fever Suns game that the Fever aren't going to back down. Nobody got suspended in this game. Nobody got suspended in this game. There was technical fouls. There was 6 and 3 technical fouls in this game. But the most important part of this game was when Caitlin Clark goes down and gets poked in the eye, or when Caitlin Clark talks trash. At least somebody is going to step up for Caitlin Clark. Somebody is going to step up for Caitlin Clark. Because if you ask me, like, there is nothing that when your teammate has your back, there is nothing that can stop that. Because that shows respect. And with Caitlin Clark getting respect and getting poked in the eye, it's not the fact that somebody has her back now. We are going to see WNBA players go at it, because if it was a Draymond Green situation, if it was a LeBron James situation, we would say, okay, nothing about it. It's just what Draymond Green does. It's just what LeBron James does. Like, we wouldn't say that, but we would say something similar to that. But at the end of the day, it's like, now Caitlin Clark, after getting poked in the eye, has one of her teammates that will step up for her. That will step up for her and go and have her back. Because when we look at this, we can say that we've seen fights in the NBA. We can say that we've seen fights in the NBA. We're seeing that now in the WNBA. If this was any other player that, like a Caitlin Clark, that got poked in the eye, in the W, yes, yes, we would be talking about it. But if it was somebody in the NBA that got poked in the eye, we wouldn't be talking, we would still be talking about it, but it would be a different conversation because at the end of the day, it's like now Caitlin Clark has somebody that's going to go, that has her back, that has her back, and not going to say, and not going, now Caitlyn doesn't have to go through and talk trash to all of these other players by herself. She has somebody like a Sophie Cunningham to back her up. She has somebody like Elaine Boston to back her up. This Fever team came together after Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye, and you're not going to say, some are going to look at this as, well, it's just Caitlin being Caitlin, or the WNBA players don't need to do anything about this. The refs are just letting them go at it. Because, like I said before, if this was a game, if this was a NBA game, if this was a NBA game, an NFL game, we would be talking about the same thing. When somebody has your back, you need to give them respect, and most importantly, like, Sophia Cunningham deserves all the respect to step up for Caitlin Clark for getting poked in the eye. Like, she deserves all the respect. But guys, sub if you're new and never give up your dreams. And I hope all of you guys are safe out there. And peace.